Medea's short story. Medea is an ancient Greek tragedy written by Euripides, based upon the myth of Jason and Medea. Euripides was born in Salamis, Greece, September 21st, 480 BC, and he was the last of the three great tragedians of classical Athens, the other two being Aeschylus and Sophocles. The play was first produced in 431 BC.
Background about Medea and Jason. So this is their story, and in some sense it's a divorce story. So this is the dissolution of their marriage after they have settled in Corinth because they are in exile. Jason and Medea met on the island of Colchis, and Jason was there to take the golden fleece, and he had a series of tasks in order to get it, and Medea helped him with that, and presumably they fell in love. So this is a story of love and romance and passion. Their travels, Medea has proved to be murderous. She kills her brother, for example, in order to flee from her father. So she has a sensational and violent.
Medea was the daughter of King Aeetes of Colchis, who helped Jason obtain the golden fleece. Medea fell in love with Jason and agreed to use her magic to help him, in return for Jason's promise to marry her. There Medea bore Jason 2 children before Jason forsook her in order to marry the daughter of Creon, the king of Corinth.
I think that the plight of a lot of women in the world today is very similar to what it would have been for Medea. Medea is a stranger in a strange land who married Jason for love, and he uses her. When she gives him children and he meets someone that is going to be a better wife, he decides to dump her, and he mistreats her, and she is in an abused marriage. So the story is what happens to a woman scorned and who's responsible. So ultimately Medea kills her own children. For what reason? Is it revenge? Is it out of desperation? Or is it worse, a fear that her children will grow up to be Greek?
Important play because it works at the upper level of society, because we are dealing with Jason, who should have been king and is a prince, and we're dealing with Medea, who is a princess and also the granddaughter of the sun god. So we've got powerful, important characters socially and culturally, but at the same time, this is in many respects a domestic drama. This is a divorce story.
Jason tells Medea to leave, that he no longer loves her, and to leave without her children. So he's put her in a situation where she has to make a split decision. Because she's put under such pressure and made to make a quick decision, I would say that she snapped. She went momentarily insane, and at that moment, out of revenge and anger, she killed her children. So that's a compelling story. I feel sorry for Medea. I don't think that what she did was right, but I certainly understand why she did it.
Well, I think when we look at the female characters in the play, we get a range of roles and a pretty clear sense of how Greek society looked at female characters. We see, for example, the position that the chorus has. So the chorus is made up of Corinthian women, and they prove to be incredibly sympathetic towards Medea and the fact that her husband essentially has dumped her for a trophy wife, leaving Medea and her children destitute, essentially. And so the Corinthian women, and they're presenting a sort of standard Greek view of women's roles, and they're saying to her, well, this is the way men behave, and there's nothing that women can do about it, and you just need to deal with it. Her place is to take care of the home and the children as best she can.
Medea can be a lesson to women even today that are maybe in abusive relationships or maybe feel that they've been taken advantage of. I certainly don't believe that killing her children could ever be morally justified, but I certainly can understand it. I think now if we look back and we psychoanalyze Medea, Medea was a woman scorned who was in an abusive relationship, and she did the only thing she thought was possible to maintain her power. And in the end, she wins.
Medea got revenge for Jason's desertion by killing the new bride with a poisoned robe and crown which burned the flesh from her body. King Creon died as well when he tried to embrace his dying daughter. Medea fled Corinth in a chariot drawn by winged dragons, which belonged to her grandfather Helios. She took with her the bodies of her 2 children, whom she had murdered in order to give Jason further pain.
She destroys the kingdom. She kills Jason's future wife, and she makes sure that he will not have any heirs. So what's the worst thing that can happen to a Greek king? To die without children, and especially sons. So is Medea a hero? I think she is. Women today have the same issues. I think women often marry men who mistreat them, and often children are the only tools you have or the only power you have in a relationship. So what would be the ultimate revenge? To kill someone's child. And Medea does that. So the play to me is compelling because the answers aren't that easy. It's very difficult to judge Medea knowing the situation she was in. And that's what makes it a great work of art.
That's a horrific act. Women, in our culture, when they kill children, that's seen as one of the worst kinds of murders. We expect mothers to care for and take care of their children. And so it's incredibly problematic to think of her as being pure heroine, that somehow she is exemplary, that she's a model or an exemplar. I think she can't be that in entirety, but she stands up for herself. She makes Jason and his values look incredibly poor, and so there are many things that she does that I think feminists and all of us can admire. In real life, people have little control over what others do. I mean, the chorus knows that she's going to kill her children, and nobody can stop her. I mean, there's that sense that people are on a trajectory, and we'd like to think that we can help them and we can stop them.
Medea then took refuge with Agis, the old king of Athens, having promised him that she would use her magic to enable him to have more children. She married Aeacus and bore him a son, Medus. But Agis had another son, Theseus. When Theseus returned to Athens, Medea tried to trick her husband into poisoning him. She was unsuccessful and had to flee Athens, taking Medus with her. After leaving Athens, Medus became king of the country, which was later called Media.
I think it's a play that wants to talk about the richness of what it means to be human. And if we exist without passion and without feelings, we are Jason. And if we are too much like Medea, and passion is that fierce, there are consequences to that. So here, in typical Greek fashion, we're trying to find some sort of balance, some sort of middle way. And so I think that the play wants to address that balance between them.